an enormous power when someone is trying to tell you what their problems are, what their pain points are, or use that for good and help them, or you can totally manipulate that situation and make them do really harmful things to themselves, to others. So the very first piece is you need to have a heart to serve your potential clients and customers. That needs to be like the ground level of what we're doing when we're in sales, that we're serving them, meaning we are trying to understand what their pain points are so we can help them to decide, yes, we're a good option for them, or no, we're not a good option from them. If we can truly come into every single conversation with the mindset and with the heart that here to be able to see if I can help you, and if I can, great, we're going to talk about that investment. If I can't personally, who else can I bring to help solve your problems?
Welcome to another episode of Sipping Matcha and helping you make more sales, where our sales coach and matcha drinker, Brooke Greening, will be joining us in just a moment to answer a soul-penetrating question today. We got an exciting question coming up for you all today, but we would love, this is our episode reminder and request for you to jump into the conversation and share your questions with us, and you can do that at buildingmomentum.info/matcha. We'd love to hear your sales questions and provide some answers and strategies to help you move forward and make more sales. So let's bring in Brooke and see, I think it's iced matcha today.
It's hot, so of course it's iced matcha in my fun little beach mug.
There we go. We're still loving the summer vibes here and doing that. So let's get to our question today. So here is the question, and it is a little like diving the depths here today. But how do I uncover customers' true pain points without being intrusive? Right? So I know that you encourage people like, hey, you need to find out what's really going on, not just surface level pain points, but what's really going on that's driving somebody's interest in buying and that. And so that starts to get a little uncomfortable for some people. And one of your clients was saying, okay, this is great, I get it, but I don't know how to do that without being intrusive.
It is so true, because we've all been there where people are trying to find our pain points, but it feels unauthentic. And it also really frustrates us when they spin it and then they're using it to corner us into buying from them and to feeling stupid that we're not buying from them. And it just feels really gross. And so instead of us doing that, we swing all the way to the other side and we say, I don't want to have anything to do with that. So it's a great question, because we've all been there where we've had that happen to us, and we don't want to do that when we're talking to our clients and our potential customers.
Yeah, I know. We were on a sales call. I was on a sales call several months ago or that, and the guy was doing his thing and we're talking about the product, and it probably wasn't going great, and that to begin with, and he didn't seem to really read the room. And so we were already disengaging, and then he was like, all right, so just tell me your like sales numbers and what's your, and he got like super specific and super like into the nitty gritty of our business. And it was just like because it was in the context of, hey, if you give me this number, I'm going to show you how no matter like what it is, like you have to buy from me. And so he was being manipulative with getting these super specific kind of personal questions at a moment in the sales conversation where we were like, warning, no thanks. And that definitely sealed the deal on that day, in not a good way.
Oh, that's absolutely true. And I so appreciate this question, because as you and I were talking, I come from the other side, and when I'm uncovering customers' pain points and problems, I never feel like it's intrusive. I never feel like this is wrong. And we're going to talk about how to be able to do that. But that goes back to my counseling and my master's in counseling. And what you learn from the very beginning is you have an enormous power when someone is trying to tell you what their problems are, what their pain points are, or use that for good and help them, or you can totally manipulate that situation and make them do really harmful things to themselves, to others, so it's for your benefit. And so the problem is not what are their concerns and how do we understand that. The problem comes in of what do we do with the answers that they give us. And so that is a great thing to be able to think about as we keep going, because it's not intrusive to be able to understand their pain points. It's intrusive when we manipulate them with what the answers are.
Yeah, I think like in all of life, whether it's with your friends, whether it's at the doc, whether wherever it is, when you're confident that people have your best interests at heart, you actually want them to really understand you, and
Yes.
being able to share and communicate those things actually is validating and makes you feel seen and all of that. But when people misuse that, you can cause pain and bad experiences very
Yeah.
quickly. And so I think I agree with you. I think a lot of people just think, oh, because my experience has been the unethical, just call them sales bros, call it whatever. Like, I'm going to say whatever, do whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to make this sale. That then they're like, oh, I'm not going to talk about what really needs to be talked about.
Yeah, there's a huge ethical line when you start talking with people in regards to the problems that they're facing. And when you have that right in front of you, you don't worry about that you're being intrusive or manipulative, because you know what that line is. And I think that's where it gets confusing for people, because they feel like they might not know what that is.
Yeah. So, okay. We got some good, like, big principles. Like, don't be a jerk. Don't manipulate people. Don't prey on their pains for your own
Right.
benefit. How do we do that, though? We still need to discover these true underlying pain points. How do we do that in a way that's ethical and helps us make more sales?
Yes. So the very first piece is you need to have a heart to serve your potential clients and customers. That needs to be like the ground level of what we're doing when we're in sales, that we're serving them, meaning we are trying to understand what their pain points are so we can help them to decide, yes, we're a good option for them, or no, we're not a good option from them. If we can truly come into every single conversation with the mindset and with the heart that here to be able to see if I can help you, and if I can, great, we're going to talk about that investment. If I can't personally, who else can I bring to help solve your problems? When you come into the conversation with that mindset, that's when people will start to trust you. And that's when you don't have to worry that this is going to go into a manipulative direction, because you've already determined in your mind, this is how we're going to lead this conversation. So that's the first thing. You have to have a heart to serve.
Yeah, and I know, like, for us, our faith informs that and helps us with that. But the reality is that we interact with a lot of kind of service provider type businesses. And most of those people that are involved with that, yeah, they got into it. They want to make money. They want to have a good living. They want to provide for their family. They want to do really well. But part of their motivation for getting into those businesses was also because they wanted to serve people. They wanted to truly help.
They wanted to help them.
And so it probably for most of our listeners, it's not a foreign idea. Oh yeah, a heart of service. Maybe we lose sight of that occasionally, but it is a really important place to start.
Yes. And then the next piece is we are seeking to understand. We are asking questions to understand. We are not asking questions so that we can then spin it and push people into a corner and make them to do something, or manipulate them, or make them feel like they're an idiot for not buying from us. Those are methods in sales. I don't agree with them. I don't coach them. And you don't have to do them at all. You are trying to understand. So the reason why we ask questions is not because we're trying to get into the nitty gritties of their life and uncover all of the nasty things. It's we're truly trying to understand, what pain points are you actually having? And so what that means is they are going to tell you something, and then you're going to ask clarifying questions to understand more, not to turn it around against them. That's the second piece.
Yeah, so we have a heart to serve. We want to seek understanding. And I know, like, you encourage people to even take notes as you're talking. And I know you're kind of old school and do that and actually write notes. There are, like, recording or AI transcription tools that you can use. And those are helpful. The kind of the caution that I would just give with that is those are typically helpful after the fact. And so if you're like actively listening with the conversation, it doesn't help so much to be able to go back and say, oh, you said this, or this idea keeps coming up. Let's talk a little bit more about that, because you're seeking understanding. So taking notes, a good thing.
Is really
Pen and
important.
paper
Yes.
might actually be, not that you can't do the other, but doing both might be a good fit for you. So
Yeah,
what's
and
the
now,
third thing? Oh, go ahead.
well, the other
Sorry.
thing is I was just working with another client, and she was just sharing Zoom, like still does a lot of calls on Zoom, but she was also sharing, what do I do when it's in person? Like now we're actually doing in person more. So COVID happened, all of online, but it's good. You want to be able to have those conversations. And so that's where that comes into play, unless you're going to be like, excuse me, I'm going to hit record, or you got the AI glasses or whatever. But it's just that human piece of you're listening and you're paying attention to what they're saying.
Hey there, Momentum Builders. It's Scott here from Sipping Matcha and helping you make more sales. We're so glad that you're part of our podcast family. If you're finding this content valuable, could I ask you to do us a favor? Would you leave a review on your favorite podcast platform where you listen and connect with us at? We'd love to hear your feedback, to connect with you, to see your comments, and it would help us get the word out about this podcast. Have a great day. Let's get back to the episode.
And then, so you're always listening to understand. So you're listening for, I'm frustrated with, this isn't going well. I've talked to other people, but like you're just like any other type of conversation you'd be having with your friends, with your family. You're listening for where they're hesitating, what they're frustrated with, because if they're sharing any of that, there's always more to it. So that's the first piece. The second one, you're seeking to understand. And then the third one is we just ask permission. Don't encourage you to just dive right in and say, hi, my name is Brooke. I'm with Building Momentum. I help sales. I just want to know, what keeps you up when you're thinking about your business? Well, that's awkward. That's too pushy. That's too invasive. We're not doing that. We're asking permission. So when they start sharing something that's frustrating to them, we bring it back. We restate what they said and say, hey, is it okay if we talk about this for a minute? Because it seems like this is really important to you. And I just wanted to know, what did you mean by ... Ask permission. And I've never actually had someone say no.
Yeah, and so we've have a heart to serve, seek understanding, ask permission. And when you do this, some really great things can happen. And I know for you sold in one of the highest, like, emotionally charged, lots of landmines type of sales situation when we were selling in the senior industry and assisted living care facilities. Remind me, tell me a story.
Said,
I know, whatever it's not a home.
No,
Whatever the correct term is. Tell me a story about how you did this and what that was like and how you were able to get like really personal with people, but in a way that was appreciated and got the real problems.
Yeah. Almost every conversation was that, because there were so many emotions involved. But one where I was talking to a daughter and we were sitting across the table and she was just visibly upset and she was frustrated. And like we had tissues in the room because we knew this is a highly emotional, overwhelming time, because by the time they're trying to figure out for them to move out of their home that they've had for 20, 30 years into our communities, that's a huge decision. And there's a ton of guilt involved. And she was just like, this is really hard. And was talking about why it was really hard. And then she said something just really quickly. And she was like, not everybody's involved. Not everybody on the right page. And so I listened for a few more minutes and I said, hey, I'm just going to ask you a question and see if it's okay if we talk about this. I know you're saying that this is overwhelming, and it is. It's incredibly overwhelming when you've told your mom you're never going to do this. You're completely exhausted because of how you're caring for her. Your kids are off in school. Like you're just completely pressed on all sides. But you said that not everybody is on the same page. Do you mind me asking, what do you mean by that? Who is not on the same page? What's going on in that situation? And it was a brother in California who was the financial power of attorney, and he didn't think any of that was necessary. And there was always a brother in California who didn't think it was necessary. I don't know why they're all out in California. I was in Illinois at that point. But it allowed us to start having the conversations. How can we be able to help you through this? Because he's going to need to be a part of this. Because when you're the financial power of attorney, you make those decisions. It doesn't matter that the healthcare power of attorney is the one caring for their mom and trying to figure everything out. the financial power of attorney is going to be the one that makes this final decision. So we had to be able to bring him in and helping her to know, what is that going to look like? What questions does he have? Where are his hesitations? And how can we help so that people can be on the same page? And in the end, we were able to figure that out, where at the time it came where their mom did move in, and they just both wrote really sweet thank you notes of, thank you so much for helping us think through this and working through this. This was the best decision for us. We're really glad we were to work with you to help us with this. And it wasn't intrusive.
I think that's the power of doing this ethically, doing it with a heart to serve, doing this of when you listen to people, when you ask questions in an appropriate way, when you're seeking the help, that then they're grateful for that. And you helped them through a process. You made the sale, and they weren't unaware that you're the salesperson. And yet they still said, like, thank you. This was really helpful and really meaningful for that. So if people are listening and they're like, this is great, I want to have those type of conversations, but I don't know how my conversations are going, what could they do? What's a resource that you have for them? How could they take a step towards unlocking what may be happening in their conversations?
We have created a sales conversation assessment because it is really hard to know what your customer is feeling. I guarantee you, your customer knows exactly what they're feeling, and they know exactly what they're thinking about how this conversation is going. But you may not be able to see that. And so it's about a 3-minute assessment, and it just starts walking you through our service framework of what we teach in regards to how to be able to have these sales conversations, where we're truly focusing on serving them. We're truly trying to understand what their pain points are, and then how we're able to help them with what we have to offer, or if we can't, who else we can send them to. And so that's what you can do. You can just take the service sales assessment, and it's going to give you insight on how you're leading your sales conversations.
Yeah, people can access that at buildingmomentum.info/assessment and take that 3 minutes. It might take 4 or 5. But it's a pretty simple assessment. It gives some clarity to you on how your conversations are going. It helps you have the types of conversations that we've been having today. And there's elements all throughout the sales conversation that can set you up for success with these types of things from the beginning to the end, where people will buy and say thank you. And you can see how you're doing. Again, that address is buildingmomentum.info/assessment. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Sipping Matcha and helping you make more sales.
Bye-bye.